sign deals with countries or make arrangements that would allow us to function even if other countries are doing it for us. So, for example, hydrocarbons. India is not a hydrocarbon-rich country, even though we keep exploring and trying to find more. But in the end, we have to rely on other countries. Under those circumstances, I hope you have got a sense of the fact that we will make the sort of we will build those international relationships necessary to allow us to buy cheap energy for our 1.4 billion people. And if it requires us to do some tricky navigation, we will do so.
Are we set for some tricky navigation when it comes to import of Russian crude?
It is always the case that we are looking for cheap resources for the Indian economy. And we have, I think, more or less made it clear that we will continue to have this view of the world into the future. That does not mean that we will not take into account the views of our allies, but our allies also have to understand that we have our own imperatives. And I think some adjustments will be arrived at.
When you say adjustments, just trying to understand how you look at the facts we have in front of us today. You have one claim that India is going to stop importing Russian crude. And then you look at our import or our crude basket, and one doesn't understand how that's going to happen anytime soon.
As I said, our main interest as the government is to make sure that our economy gets cheap fuel. Because we are not a country that has been blessed with a huge amount of hydrocarbons. So we do need to import gas, crude, and so on. And we will buy it from the cheapest available source. But obviously, we will take into account the global sensitivity and so on. But as I said, we also expect our allies to understand our circumstances. So accommodation is made, as was made over the last few years. Irrespective of all the rhetoric, the fact of the matter is the world did adjust to the fact that we purchased Russian oil. And if cheap resources are made available to us from other sources, we will certainly explore this as well.
Are they available at this time? Is that,
as I said, this is an evolving thing. If tomorrow you ask us to begin importing Venezuelan crude, can we do it? No, because our refineries will not necessarily be able to do heavy crude from Venezuela tomorrow morning. Over a period of time, can we adjust to them? Yes. So these are circumstances that evolve, and we evolve with them. But of course, as I said, we take into account the sensitivities of other countries. And as I said, similarly, we expect them to take our sensitivities into account as well.
That is a completely reasonable expectation. But I wish to juxtapose it with what we have seen on other deals.
I can't talk about others. I think India has been reasonable all through. So we will continue to be reasonable.
Do you think that